here's what we're going to do. Now, I know there might be some folks who are pretty new. There are some folks here who have been a dedicated part of this beginning of ecology here. And some folks may be more new. I don't want to blow you out of the water or overwhelm you, but you're actually in a kind of a special situation. The conversations we're going to have tonight, I usually only have in very elite leadership meeting training conversations. And the reason is, it's not really anything other than we're really going to get to it, and it will be pretty intense because it's important. But I'm just going to, I made the same decision last night in Copenhagen. There were a lot of folks there who were newer, and I just said, look, we're all adults, we're all men and women here, and we're here because we want to do good for those that we care about and want to do good for others. And so we're going to have a really blunt and direct and very high-level conversation because I think it's important. We will talk about some of the hows, how this or how that happens. But I want to spend the first part of this conversation, the first 45 minutes or so, I want to talk about the whys. That's where things really get separated. That's where you can, and you can help others go to an entirely different level of understanding, but really more than anything, capability. It was a conversation I had with my mentor. I was probably in my third year of working with him before he had these types of discussions with me. And he said, because I feel you had to earn the right to have the conversation. But I believe the first role of leadership is you show up, and you did. So congratulations, you're now the elite leader group here, and we're going to share with you things that I think from this beginning can create a dramatic effect, very positive effect, very beneficial effect for you and for others. And I think we've got some folks who, awesome. You just missed the boring stuff, so now it gets exciting anyway. So here's what I'd recommend. If you can, look around, do whatever you got to do, and see if you've got something to take some notes with. Because now they are videoing it, so you could always go back and take notes from that. So if you want to do that, I'm assuming that, they're going to be nice and package this all up and take out my stupid things I say and leave in the smart stuff. So I'm sure you'll be able to get access to it again. But the reason I'd like you to take notes as much as you can during the process, for those of you who have the note-taking ability, is that the more you hear, engage, and try and repurpose or record, the more it embeds, and that's just a good thing. So, but if you don't have anything, then just listen and let's just stay connected. Just listen, stay connected in the moment, gather it, absorb it. And what I would recommend is if you get a chance to go back through, there is going to be a lot of information in these next, 2.5 hours. There's going to be a lot of stuff. We'll take a couple of breaks. When we get to shut-off time, which will probably be around, 9:45 or so or something, anybody who's got to go, feel free. If at any moment you reach a point where I just have to go, not a problem. They're recording it. That's fine. We understand. I'm also one of those that, if somebody's there willing to learn, I just rock. So in Copenhagen, we went to almost 1 o'clock in the morning last night. I was down to 5 people, but they were sponges and kept sucking it up. And finally, my ride said, please. I said, okay. All right. Hey, anybody just says we're good. So I just want you to know I'm available to you if that's what you want to do. But I'll leave that to you. Here's what I want to do. I want to step back a second and kind of where I've started the last couple of days, I want to share some thoughts with you. The reason that Lisa and I are here is because of friendship. We are very good personal friends with Eric and Marina Worre. They had the opportunity to become really good friends with Frank and some of the EQ staff and leadership. And a couple of years ago, almost November this year, it will have been 2 years, we were all at a common event. Lisa and I were there in support of Eric, and he and Marina said, we'd like you to meet some folks. They've got a company, it's got great potential. We think it just needs a little bit of help and guidance to go to the next level. That's how it began. Frank and I began a process. We didn't charge that. Now, we are now engaged with Frank and with EQ in a way, but the way we engage with people, it's based on success. We share in success. There's no success, there's nothing to share, because we get really focused and committed on working with folks in the right way. We don't really consult. Lisa and I consulted at one time. Consultants are people that you pay a lot of money to ignore the opinion they write down on paper. It just frustrated me, and I said, forget that. I don't need to waste time doing that because we have our own teams that we support worldwide. We love the profession. We want to help good friends. Right now, we only work with friends or people referred by friends, and that's it. Sometimes it's just, here, want some phone calls, we'll talk to you for a while. Anything we can do to help. But we realized that, and Frank, as he started asking, can you guys engage more heavily than the Fuse conversations? We said, sure. So I share that with you because we are truly serious about helping ecology go to the next level. And it's not about us, it's about what we believe can happen for you and for those that you have a chance to touch if it's structured, if it's executed from a company standpoint properly. Ultimately, 100% of the success comes from you. There's not $1 of revenue that a network marketing company anywhere on the planet creates. Not one. Every single dollar of revenue at Amway, Avon, Nu Skin, any of them, the big names out there, every single dollar of revenue is because of a distributor or that independent agent, associate, whatever you call them, brand partner, associate, distributor, whatever. It is either a product purchase they make for their use or for them to provide to someone who is their customer, or it is a product purchased through their ID or identified as a customer connected by them. 100% of every dime of revenue created in the $180 billion direct sales world worldwide comes from you, not the company. Companies don't create revenue. Companies create environments where people can be attracted to it. So if there's the right leadership, the right coaching, and the right guidance, then products can be moved. But it comes through you. And so if you look at the largest companies in the world, the billion-dollar giants, it's funny. It's always made me laugh. People, new companies say, we're going to be the next billion-dollar company. And I'm like, God, can't they come up with a new line? Because it makes me chuckle. It's not really that complicated, a research project. There have probably been less than 50 companies in the history of the profession who have ever achieved $1 billion US in revenue, consisting at least over, some of them popped there and disappeared, but at least 2 years in a row, so maybe it wasn't a fluke. There are never more than about 14 or 15 at any given year that achieve that status out of the probably tens of thousands of companies around the world that call themselves a part of this. It's not a real deep research project. Go look at 14 or 15, and some of those have been there for decades and decades and decades. So, hence, that's why there aren't a lot that get there. It's actually a pretty simple process of evaluation. There are companies that have done it in skincare. There are companies that have done it in nutrition. There are companies that have done it in utilities, like electrical services or phone services. The product has nothing to do with it. There are companies that have done it as unilevel comp plans and breakaway comp plans and binary compensation plans and unigen comp, every imaginable type of compensation model. It has nothing to do with the compensation model. There's only one thing that you can find in common with those elite high production companies. They all have not one or two, but many individuals, men or women, who are earning $1 million US or more per year in income. Because it is about leadership developing. We are in the leadership development business. That's what network marketing is. And along the way, if you do it right, creating a friendly, true, I'm not just making this up, a true, warm, open, accepting, loving community that respects everybody, wherever they are. Somebody who just wants to do a little bit a few times a month and make a few $100s, and people who do want to become those elite performers. It's about creating a world and a place where everybody feels really good to be there. They're proud to be there, they enjoy being there, and whoever they are and whatever their choice is, we honor and respect it. But it's led by those who perform at an elite level, which is a small percentage. And why? Because if every bit of revenue comes from a distributor, it comes from a distributor or their customer, it comes from a distributor who is enrolled or introduced by a distributor, enrolled or introduced by, or in an ecology term, a brand partner enrolled by a brand partner, 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 somewhere who was taught and coached by an emerging leader, who was taught and coached by a mid-level leader, who was being taught and coached by an elite leader. It was that education. It truly done properly is like a family. There are the great-grandparents, the grandparents, the parents. There are the adults in the family who are still single, but they've grown and known. There are the university students, the high school students, the grade school students, and eventually there's the newborn baby. That's exactly what network marketing is. And the newborn baby can possibly be 68 starting for the first time, and the elite leader is 28 who's been doing it for 10 years and is a master. But it is about knowledge and expertise. It's not about age. It's not about who you are, where you are. I've known people who never finished formal school as truck drivers or manual laborers who became elite educators, mentors, coaches, and masters of helping others grow. When you begin to realize that, then there are certain things that I want to share with you that I have found are the fundamental truths of network marketing. And it's like gravity, you know. It's going to happen every time. I let go, it's just going to do that. It's the law of gravity. It's undeniable. You can't violate it. You can push against it. You can hold your arm out there for some period of time. I don't care how big and powerful and strong and a bodybuilder you may be, you're going to lose. If I say hold it there forever, good luck. You're going to lose. At some point, you're going to collapse. And so I want to share with you some of these laws, because if we're going to get to the how-tos, because that's important as this group goes to build and grow and then go from here, you know, from Holland around the world. You need to understand the how-tos. But if you don't understand why the how-tos are set up that way, you'll always be limited. If you understand why we do the things we do the way we do it, for those of us who have done this a long time, you don't need to know the how-to. You'd naturally just, it'd almost be obvious to you. You just go, well, if I know why, I do that. It was kind of like being a parent and you've got a 3-year-old child. You understand, you got it all. You know the whole thing. You know where they are and you know where they're going. And when they're 3, you don't teach them how to be an adult and a parent. You teach them how to be a 3-year-old. And when they're 4, you teach them what they're supposed to know when they're a 4-year-old. And when they're 5, you teach them what they're supposed to know when they're a 5-year-old. But if you understand why, because here's the adult we're trying to create, this is the kind of person we want them to become, or hopefully, I teach them how to be a 3-year-old in a way because that's what you would do, so you've got the right foundation for them to be that right person. Does that make sense? If I didn't understand that, then I could get them way off course, okay? So here is network marketing. Network marketing is about giving people, not getting people. You don't get anybody. I have people say, how do I get someone to do a stop? I say, stop, don't even finish. We're way off base. It's completely, I said you can't. But I didn't tell you what. I don't care what, you can't. You can't get anybody to do anything in our world. The thing about network marketing, every single person in network marketing is there voluntarily. They're there because they want to be, or at least they did, or at least they're still here because they still want to be. If you go to an office building and you look at the noon, you know, you go to an office building in downtown Amsterdam, you look at the people come out of the office building for lunch, 90% of those people are there because they have to be. Not because they want to be, because they have to be. It's what they do. Someone said, here's the task we need done. We'll put you in that. Your qualifications appear to be a match. Here's what time you show up. Here's what you do. Here's what you're worth. Here's when you eat. Here's when you leave. And here's how you do it, or we're going to get rid of you. You can get people to do things in employer-employee relationships. In network marketing, everybody volunteered. They can unvolunteer tomorrow. And that's their right. They're an adult. They're human beings. We need to treat people, in this world, we need to treat people with respect. We don't get them. We give them the opportunity to make choices and then respect their choice. Don't be disappointed by their choice. If you are disappointed by someone else's choice, then you haven't reached a state of truly understanding why. You need to know today, most people don't do anything. The few who do, don't do it for long, and those who do it longer are getting really close to not doing it anymore. It's just human nature. There are very rare few who put in the level of effort to go all the way to being elite at anything. Look at Olympic athletes. Look at professional athletes. Yet everybody started as little kids playing on the playground. But imagine the hours and the work and the sweat and the pain to get to that elite level to win any competitive activity at the Olympic level. Or are you kidding me? The percentage of people is like about that big. It's the same here. The difference is we don't care who you are, we don't care where you come from. We don't prejudge you, we don't hold you down. We'll lift you up. In other words, network marketing is that if you choose, see, the only person you should ever be disappointed in network marketing, go look in the mirror. That's the only person you should ever be disappointed with. Go look in the mirror and ask yourself truthful, hard questions when you're by yourself. And don't make it up and stop BSing and stop, making up stories. You can make money, you can make excuses, you can't make both, pick one. But go have a conversation in the mirror and say, who should I be disappointed in? If everybody in my team acted just like me, am I pleased or am I disappointed? Go start there, because that's where your disappointment should be. Instead, in the world, don't be disappointed. Know in advance, most won't. I'm looking for the few who choose, because if I've chosen. Now, that's why this isn't a conversation I have in front of everybody from the front of the room. I'd scare to death all the people I love having as a part of our club and our community. I love having part-time, casual, volunteers who just kind of like hanging out on Tuesday night at the meeting because it's the most fun thing they do every week. And I like seeing them because I like people. Just because they choose not to be a freak, psychotic, elite person in this space like I've chosen to be, doesn't mean I can't just have a blast seeing Fred every week. Why? Because he's just funny. He's a good guy. He's always got a great joke. He smiles easy. And if you listen to his story and you find out he really is a great woodworker and he loves making cute wood animals for kids and he does it for kindergarten kids for free because he loves to see them laugh, what a great guy to get to know. Because I say, Fred, listen, my granddaughter's got a birthday coming up, $20, $50, can I get an animal? I never would have known Fred if I didn't have this community. My choice to go through, the things I go through to perform at Milo, that's my choice. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Okay. Because if you understand this, here's what it is. You don't have to be a top-level performer to be an incredibly amazing person, an incredibly valuable part of the EQ community. But we're here tonight to talk about leadership training. Because if now's not your time, I don't see that there's a problem that you know that this is the way it really works, because one day it may be your time. Maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year, maybe never, but you never know. So I'm here to give you some information. I'm here to give you some real direct truths. And I'm going to let you choose. And whatever you choose, I'm great with. I respect it, I honor it, because you're a person, you're a human being. But let me share with you, I'm going to pretend right now, boom, you guys are all elite leaders. There just may be some thoughts you haven't had into your head, and I'm going to put them in real quick. Because now I'm going to pretend, for the sake of this conversation, that all of us are at that level. Because that's the conversation we're going to have tonight. The way you build successful teams on a large scale and the way companies don't build successful companies. Leaders build teams, teams create, in essence, become the company. Companies create environments. They create circumstances. They create situations. Companies provide quality products that sit in a warehouse unless somebody shows up and says, hi, I want to be brand partner at least number one. Good. But companies have to do that. Companies should create an environment where great training and mentoring and education. Companies are not necessarily responsible for training, mentoring, and education. That is really not their job. That's the leadership job. Many companies end up being run by people who have never done what we do. It'd be a little hard for them to teach us how to do what we're supposed to do. But if you get companies that create a great environment, they've got great products, they support their leadership, they support their field, they support their members. They've got great compensation models. They hire good staff who have a passionate desire to do their job at a higher level. When you contact support, they truly have a heart to support you. That's what when you make an order, logistics truly has a heart to try and get that out the door properly as quickly as possible. Yes, they're going to make some mistakes. They're human beings, but they work as hard to correct them and never do them again, because that's their mindset. fact, we're going to change the name of customer support. We're going to call it the Customer Happiness Department because that's what it needs to be. By the way, we are their number one customer. You are the primary customer. If you have Aunt Betty and she's having multi-cheese, she's the secondary customer because she's your customer. You are the company's customer. And we're going to put together a Customer Happiness Department because that's their job. Make the customer happy. Do what it takes, make it happen. But as you go to lead, particularly as you move up through that, when you're newer at it, there are some stumbling blocks you can run into. And it's a matter of sometimes imposing, and even if you don't intend to, sometimes putting your perspective, projecting it on others, because here's how I see, I assume that's how you see. That's what I did. That's why I failed for 2 years. I sold because I assumed everybody should buy because I bought, you ought to buy. Surely you would never say no. That'd make me wonder if I should have said no, and I shouldn't have said no because I said yes, and I'm always right. So here we go. I'm going to sell you. I mean, it was a really twisted, confusing conversation in my head. I was completely messed up, and when I finally learned the proper things about this profession, what I did is I actually felt horrible. I was disappointed in me. I realized I'd hurt people for 2 years. Now, not really physically hurt them, maybe not even emotionally hurt them, but I had not been of service to them. Because I had them all going off in the completely wrong tangents because I just wouldn't listen. Because once I finally was mentored, I realized this is what the people on the first day were saying. I just wasn't ready to listen, I guess. And so here's what it is. Network marketing is about giving. Now, let me be clear. Network marketing. So let me touch on that a second. Network marketing, then there's also direct sales. There's party plan. We all kind of sometimes bunch them together. They are vastly different. Direct sales is selling. You are trained to be a professional salesperson. At Mary Kay, they have corporate paid employees who are good at sales coaching who teach you how to go sell. And if you don't like selling, you leave Mary Kay because you understand if I'm in Mary Kay, I sell. And you're going to teach me and I'm going to go sell. Party plan. I am going to gather people, places, and I'm going to demo because I know that's what that is. Network marketing is where you have very small efforts by large numbers of people who are not taught to sell. They're given choices and they either choose or they don't. A company, Longaberger Basket, when they were approaching $1 billion in revenue at one point in their history, I think it was like 60,000 around active distributors. When Nu Skin approaches $1 billion in revenue, I think it was like, 3 million active distributors. 60,000, 3 million, same $1 billion. What is the dollar production per person? Longaberger Basket, those people were taught how to sell. So 60,000 sold $1 billion of stuff. Nu Skin, 3 million people just kind of talked to some friends. And some of them, through their choices, chose to raise their game and raise their ability, and they did a lot more, but that was their choice. It wasn't what was forced on them. Does that make sense? Are you with me still? So here's what happens. If you want to be successful in network marketing, you want to create an environment. Now, I'll tell you what, let me share another thing with you. Longaberger Basket's $1 billion in revenue. I think their top income earner was actually a strong 6-figure earner. I can't remember that article. It's been quite a few years. Nu Skin at $1 billion, their top income earners are making multiple $1 million per year. So here I've got to be a salesperson and the top income is significantly less. Here I don't have to sell anything. I just have to learn how to coach and mentor and help and teach, and I can be a multi-million-dollar earner. That's one of the reasons I prefer the network marketing environment, because I find that in the United States there's Saks Fifth Avenue, which is a very high-end retail operation where a lot of rich people go. Walmart sells to the masses. Which one is worth more money? Walmart, the largest, most profitable retail operation on the planet, because they understood there's just a larger market that we can service. So their perception is we sell inexpensive but good value items and they make a lot of money. I felt it made more sense that if I went into a business that wealthy folks, but everybody could be drawn to, it made more sense to me. And so in network marketing, we need to design things knowing that people are people. And the best thing you can do when you're in a position of leadership is to understand human behavior. Just stop and think about it for a second. There is nothing in the world that most people should do. So most people shouldn't do network marketing. Most people, therefore, shouldn't do ecology. So you shouldn't be disappointed when you show it to 10 people and only 2 or 3 decide they want to do what you did. Because that's about what it should be. When people enroll, which is step 1, most of them won't do step 2. I don't care what it is. You know, scratch your ear. Most won't scratch their ear. Some will. Whatever step 2, if there are 10,000 steps to huge success, and it's just crystal clear path, whatever the step is, most who make it here don't go to the next level because that's okay. Does that make sense? It's just human nature. But here's the key. If you want to be successful from a leadership position, you want to have as many people as possible engage. And what you want them to do is to stay engaged for the long term. We are building a community. We are not selling product. Product purchase and consumption happens. It just happens if you build the right community. If you focus on one, you don't get the community. Focus on a community, you get tons of the other. Here's the actual business model. If we were going to break it down, take all the emotion, all the changing people's lives, all the stuff out of it, and just do a hardcore financial numbers analysis, this would be a perfect network marketing model. Somebody new enrolls, here's what they do. On day 1, they purchase the largest available getting started package of some kind, whatever it is. Why? You may have multiple options, including just a registration kit. Here's what I believe to be the truth. The more people hop in, if nothing else, the more uncomfortable they feel if they are new to it. The more uncomfortable they feel, the more they are to do something to get comfortable, meaning they'll do something. If you don't have something in the game, the old skin in the game, I just know, I watch. Does starting with a big package mean you'll be successful? No. But I've looked at almost all the high-end successful people in any company, anywhere. You can go all the way down, as far down the list you want to go, where you say, where am I going to start asking? You say, how did you start with the Professional Business Kit Plus? 90% of them. Now, one doesn't cause the other. Starting with the Pro Business Kit doesn't create success. It's just funny. I talk to all success. Why? Because they probably made a more serious decision, and therefore they actually listened and they actually did. So I know as a leader, I want to aggressively promote this, not for my benefit, for yours. If I may only have your attention for a short time, I just hope I can get you into an action step. A very simple one, but an action step. Because if somebody will take step 1 and it didn't hurt, it actually worked, they go, wow, okay, that was pretty good. Okay, let's do step. Wow, that's pretty cool too. Okay. And then off they go. Because that's human nature. So why did we create GoPro 30? I really don't care where you start, but I do care what you do in a very small period of time. There might be someone I'm speaking to who really cannot afford 6,000 NOK for a professional business kit. Now, if that's the case, then I really want you to come in. If you're serious about wanting to make a difference in your life, then come on in and let's rock this, because I never, ever again, after a few months or whatever it is, I never want you to be in a position where you have to even hesitate about a decision like that. 6,000 NOK, no problem. It's just whether or not I want to or not. It's not whether or not I can or not. So I have no problem with people starting where they can so they can quickly, or as soon as possible, whatever that is, get to where they want to be. And so I can forevermore start the way I want to start, or so I'll do what I can do so one day I can forevermore do what I want to do. I'm okay with that. But if it's not a financial issue, then it's a belief issue. Because if it's not a problem, the 6,000 NOK is not a problem, there's only one reason you didn't do it. You didn't believe. I'm okay with that. Then let's give you a first step that is so simple everybody can do it, so that the minute you do it, there will be belief. Because here's what I know as a leader. I have to develop this with you very quickly. I have to get you to trust me. Actually, not get you. I need you to trust me. There's only one way you will trust me: if I earn it. And so since I know where we're going, because I'm the parent and the adult and you're the child, I need to know that when you come in, whatever you start with a Pro Business Kit, you don't start with a Pro Business Kit. The first step's always the same for everybody. Why does the first step have to be the same for everybody? So that it can be consistent without me having to be there. Because one day I'm going to have a team that has 10,000 people joining a month, 15,000 people joining a month in countries all over the world. What, am I going to go introduce them all? No. I have to have a method that has been created, that is tested, that is so simple, I don't have to be there, and in fact, nobody has to be there. I could hand it to you on a 3x5 card written out and say, just do that. You may choose not to, but you can. It's not that you can't do it, you choose not to do it. That I'm okay with. Because if you do this, Eric said it as well, if someone starts with the Pro Business Kit, plus, and they do nothing, did we hurt them? No. They'll just stop ever buying again, and they have a little over a year of Multi-Chi and 3 or 4 months of shakes. Guess what? They just drink the stuff, they're going to be really looking good in a year. Awesome, you know? Okay. So the reality is, I can push there because I'm not hurting them. Because if they choose to do nothing, well, drink the stuff, have a great life, and buy some more next year, you know? In other words, I can't hurt them. But I know that the bigger they go to start with, the more likely they are to do the first step. Because like, you know, I did just kind of throw 6,000 knock out the window. I guess I ought to do something. I mean, I got 16 bottles here. Ought to do something. It's a big box is staring at me. I guess I should do something. And if the first something is something that I can point to without having to be there, that you could point someone to without having to be there, that anyone who just, oh, well, that's it? Well, I can do that. Then I get to watch who chooses, because what is my business? I'm in the leader development business. But first I have to see who it is I should focus my time on. Here's what network marketing is for me and for you as an elite leader. I want to bring everybody I can to see the world, to see this world of ours. Because it's a great world. Done right, it really is a great world. I've got friends in languages I don't speak all over the world who aren't as, you know, they just speak their language, I speak mine. They're not like you guys that speak like 80, so I'm covered. But we just see each other and we light up because we're just good pals. Never had a conversation about politics because we need a translator for that one. But we hang out and have dinner, and somebody usually translates the little stuff, and they ask how my grandkids are, and I ask how their kids are, and we just have fun. I love this world. Our business is we show it to everybody. If we're smart, we show it in a way that is most likely to influence them emotionally so they will be attracted to it, and that's what I'm going to show you. That's a presentation. I mean, we're all business people, and this is a business, so we're smart enough to make sure we present our business in the way that is most likely going to get most people to want to say yes, because sometimes somebody just needs a little push. And if they just get excited enough and go, okay, and then they did the first step, okay, that works. Because here's what happens. When somebody sees the presentation of information, however they see it, the second they enroll, they have no belief, they have hope, and they have uncertainty. You've got to get them from hope to belief and uncertainty to trust. That's what the hot market system is. Because financially, I want them to start with the biggest package possible. I wish every single person would without hesitation. Next, I want them to set up their monthly auto ship and never stop it. And then I want them to stay in our community forever, and along the way they introduce a person here or there. Or if this one doesn't introduce anybody, somebody else is going to introduce a lot. It'll all work out in the end. But if they stay a part of the community, we win. Here's the problem. When they started with this big package, they do have 1.5 years of product. At some point, that's staring at them long enough. Why would they do this ongoing if they still have 1.5 years of product? The purpose of a hot market system is move the product one time. Not once a year, not once a week, not once a month. One time in your whole life. If someone does the system, they can move it in a few hours of effort, whether it's done in one period of time or over 2 or 3 days. Why? All the people who do it, it just works. Now, some people may have better, some people have to talk to 20 people to have 10 say yes. Some people talk to 12 to have 10 say yes. Some might have talked to 30. But if you just follow the system, you will have it all done. And so they've moved this. So I want them to start here because, and here's why. Billion-dollar companies have million-dollar earners. Built into these starter packages, these initial packages, are heavy reward for growing leadership. We reward two things in initial packages. The person who introduced the new person, because they should be rewarded. They introduced them. They brought them here. And leadership above who probably made it happen. Because the way a new person usually becomes a part of the family, they were introduced by a brand new person who doesn't know anything either, sat in a room or saw information, or at some point on a call met someone who did know what was going on, and this person's effort is what gave the information, so this new person made the decision. I need to reward leadership because if I don't have great leadership, I don't have great mentoring long term. Does that make sense? So I want people to do this so leaders get rewarded, because leaders did most of the work usually that caused people to do this, most of the time, in the largest spectrum. This keeps leaders in place so we can build more leaders. It's leadership development. But that's only good. It's only good to do this if I give every brand new person a simple step that they can follow that anybody could do by the time they're 6 years old. I need to keep it so simple. It's okay if they choose not to, but that's their choice. But if they do choose, I need to make sure it works for them. And I need to make sure it works without taking your time. I don't need you to spend a lot of time, because that's how organizations become huge. We give everyone a simple first step, and then we look for those who do it. Because again, if they start with a big package and do nothing, they've just got great product for a while. Okay, nobody gets hurt. But I want them to succeed. I want them to go into action. The second thing is this. I need to know, I already know, when someone starts a business at any level, they initially have an expense. Stage 2 is they have to get to break even. Ask any business entrepreneur here, go out, talk to the restaurant guy, talk to anybody. This is business. Even though this business is incredibly fun, this is a serious conversation because we need to have them. But trust and believe, once you get down to a serious conversation, I'll hang out with you all night and I like to laugh because it's just fun. This is just a good thing, okay? But this is the standard business principle, business process. 1, 2, 3. I have to get them here. Well, wouldn't it be great if I could create a simple little thing that anybody can do? I can hand them a 3x5 card. Everybody can do it. And if they do it, they immediately go from here to there in a couple of days without me having to be there. The safety of that is I could now do that with 10,000 new people a month, or 15,000, or 20,000 one day when my group reaches around the world. So I've created a structure that every single component that I know has to exist is done in a way that it doesn't require any of us to do a lot of heavy work. Because the heavy work is this. The heavy work really comes as you move up in leadership when, through those first stages of steps, you keep it so very simple because I'm looking for those who rise above by their choice, not my pushing. Network marketing done properly is the most respectful, the most honest. It treats people with dignity. You can be proud of it. You don't have to. It gets a bad name sometimes because it is also an environment that for those, see, there are no such things. That's not a bad thing. There's no way for network marketing to be bad. It's just a thing. Things aren't good or bad. There are good or bad people who manipulate things. But does that make sense? There's not a bad company. There may be bad people who do things in such a way that under a company name. If there were good people under the same company name, it wouldn't have happened. Network marketing can be done with a level of integrity and character that it's a tremendously empowering environment. And it's something you can be incredibly proud of. We give people choices. We don't get them to become customers. We give them a choice. We don't get them to join the team. We give them a choice. We don't make them do things. We give them a path and let them choose. I mean, think about that compared to typically what happens out there. This is a really fun place, and it's a really great place. And as you've got that mindset, but here's what you're looking for. You are elite. You're operating elite level. You want the masses to feel welcome, treated with respect and dignity. And how do you do that? Welcome them, treat them with respect, and treat them with dignity. Give them information to allow them to choose and say, here's the first step, and watch for those who do that. And you go, well, that might have been a fluke. Okay, so here's the second step. And then that woman does that. Again, you go, twice, that's possibly a trend. Okay, here's the third step. And she goes, and you go, okay. And you say, okay, we need to talk right here. Let's go back in this private room, we're gonna have a chat. I don't do this publicly, and I don't talk about this in front of everybody else, but in every single situation and circumstance, no matter what it is, you go beyond. I don't push, you don't do anything, you just go. You obviously have a larger desire. What really is it you're trying to accomplish? Great. I work with the masses in large-scale event. I work with the masses in the conference calls and in the hangouts and in the hotel meeting nights and in the Saturday, Super Saturday training sessions. You and me, 24/7. Here's my phone number, 24 hours a day, and I'm not kidding, you call. If I don't want to take the call, I'll put it on silent. I never turn my phone off. Never have. Haven't done it for years. And by the way, for all, I mean, seriously, I take calls. Why? Simple. If you call at 4 a.m. and I'm up and I want to take the call, I take the call. If I'm at a wedding and I want to take a call, I'll take. And there's no time to be inappropriate to call me. Why? Because I'm an elite leader developer. And when it's time, you know why I have that conversation with her? Because she earned it. She deserves it. Because every time I said this, she, without anybody dragging her along, she did this. Every time I said this, she did that. Every time I said this, she did that. She's earned access to the special club. And the special club is not something that excludes anybody. Every single person who does that, I invite in. But I don't push them to get in. And I don't even want to sometimes let them know there's a place to get into. Because I'm looking for people who naturally run stronger than others. And let me tell you why. Here's another thing that I want you to jot down. True leadership leads at speed. True leadership leads at speed. Leadership doesn't walk, it is at light speed. Why? And here's the most complicated conversation we're going to have. And if you can grasp this, because I was getting myself into a headspace. In fact, at dinner tonight, talked to the guys, and we were chatting about this very thing. Because someone last night in Copenhagen, I love her to death. She is certainly an emerging leader. She's got a heart bigger than all of us could hold. I mean, it's just a huge heart. She just wants to, she's Mother Teresa on steroids. She wants to just love everybody. And I see this passion. And so I had to correct her. And for a moment, until I was, it's one of those things, I got to tell you the whole story, because when I just gotten started, she thought I just shot her dog. The look of complete, I thought she was going to cry for a minute. I said, hang on, I'm getting there. You're going to be smiling when I'm done. Let me keep going. But I needed to correct her. She said, because I don't care how hard I have to work, I'm going to help everybody succeed. And I said, whoa, okay, Mother Teresa, whoop, let's bring this back a second. I said, you need to stop. I said, first of all, you're not God, so stop that. I said, let me be clear. I said, don't take this the wrong way. The masses are the masses for a purpose, and you can't change that. You can't. They are there so those in that situation who choose to rise out of it have an opportunity to see how far they've come. And that's the exact wording my mentor gave me. He said, Curtis, if you think you're in the salvation business, son, you think way too much of yourself, and you need to stop. And the reason is because there are people out there that if you were just there, they would rise above. If you had just let them know there was a chance, that if they would work, and if they chose, and if they put in the sweat, and if they bleed and hurt and go through the pain, they can be great, they would have been. And they weren't, because you over here trying to save everybody. It's not your job. Your job is to treat everybody with dignity and respect and give them a choice and let them choose. And the way you lead properly is you lead at speed. Now, those who choose not to come with you will never accept responsibility. Understand human nature and you're safe. Because they'll say, I can't believe you left me behind. Rather than looking in the mirror and saying, why didn't I go run with him? So true leadership, you lead at speed, and those who choose to run, you run harder to serve them while looking for those who are choosing to run. That is not caring. This is about giving people a choice, and most people go through their whole life without ever being given one or ever knowing where they could go to see that there is a choice. Just being someone who gives them a choice, you're done. That was your job. Their job is to choose, yours is to give the choice. And when you see those choosing at a higher level, they deserve your absolute excess attention. They deserve your extra effort. She performs that level, she deserves for me to say 24/7 anytime you call, and as long as you're ready to run, I'll start walking you through these steps at light speed. Everybody else can take their slow, meandering, casually crawling, walking pace. Let's go. You can't outrun me because two things will happen. We're getting to the finish line or I'm going to drop dead because you will not outrun me. And why won't you? Because I already know I'm so far ahead. I'm already hundreds of steps ahead because I've already walked all 10,000. So let's go. Does that make sense? That's what we're in the business of. We're in the business, when you want to operate at an elite level, it's understanding why and then seeing the systems. It's a sorting system. Network marketing is the ultimate fair place for people who have a burning desire. It's called network marketing. Work. Not net sit on your butt and have somebody else do it for you marketing. Network marketing. You don't need to know anything. You need no experience. You need no special skill except a willingness to work your fanny off. And it's not complicated. And it's a blast. You can be sweating where you're working so hard while you're having fun. It really is. This is the coolest community place to be a part of. So don't think it's unfun. I'm being very serious in my tone because I want to make sure this is the adjustment. These are the adjustments that when you get that epiphany and go, bang, got it, everything slows down. If you talk to elite athletes who are at high performing levels, there's that moment where suddenly everything slows down. It's where they're so in tune. They talked to Michael Jordan when some of his games, when he was shooting 50 and 60 points, he was just lighting it up. He said it was moving so slow. When I went up, I just saw it. I mean, every single time it just rolled. It was just, when you get in that zone, that's what happens. When all this happens and it clicks, you'll just see it. It all moves slow, which means for you it's actually really fun. Because here's why. If we can't get enough people, well, it will happen inevitably. But I truly believe ecology is at a moment in time where it can make a dramatic impact in this space throughout Europe and then at light speed, exploding. Because, there are already people saying, well, listen, I want to go worldwide. We want to go worldwide. There's no part of the world that I've not yet built in, but there are parts of the world I haven't built accessibly in. The company I'm in has built in the African continent. My group has never actually popped over there. Other groups had popped in. I'd love to spend time there. A good friend of mine, Holton Bugs, top income earner, they just went in, and in Nigeria, in their first month, they put in 23,000 people and did $5 million of revenue. There's a tremendous desire for entrepreneurial spirit there. The company's not ready. The company couldn't support it. The company's operating right now here. We need to get into Europe because why? Logistically, it's simpler to get to it. So the company can get the expertise of getting out beyond where its current border limitation is and get that expertise of preparing products, getting ready to register, going through building a team of people corporately they're experienced in company registration in a foreign location, product registration and approval, product modification if they have to. How do you deal with pricing changes given different duties and excess costs that have to be passed on? How do you structure so that works? We need to get that experience in place before we decide to go, to Australia on the other side of the planet. But this is a company that sees the world as its playground. So you're at the right time. This is why we're having this discussion, because we need to find as many. If you've got all this knowledge and you never do anything with it, ever, that's great. If you do something with it next year, that's great. You do something with it tomorrow, that's really good. But we leave that to you. But now let me show you the whole diagram. Since you understand this is kind of what we're going for, let me tell you what it really is. People say, well, is it about getting customers? Yes, no. Is it about getting team members? Yes, no. What is it about? It's about building a global network of consumers. But as a leader, your job is to facilitate the network, the consumer network creation. At leader level, I am not the customer developer. I am the network of consumer developers. That's my job. I need to facilitate helping people expand the brand partner penetration around the world. Each brand partner has an entirely personal choice to make. There are those, I believe every brand partner should have their entire, for example, when I say I'm not, my whole family uses the products of the company I'm with. My whole family will use this stuff. I use products from I personally every day use products from probably 6 or 7 network marketing companies. Why? Because they got some good stuff, and I like it. I just don't do their business. Business didn't attract me, my companies did, but I love their products. There are 4 companies that I absolutely take their nutrition products every single day, and 2 other companies I use their products periodically. I use Multi-Chi now, and I also use the shake. And I will. It's a good product. I sat down, I talked to the science guys, I looked at it and said, antitoxin stuff, I'm right there with you. So here's the mindset. I want every brand partner to get those people who are closest to them, who if they just pick up the phone or just send a text, say, I'd like some help, will you do something for me? Okay, what? Here it is. It's very simple. Let me lay it out for you, yes or no. Can I count on you? Why? Because then I want to eventually move into those people who helped you by trying Multi-Chi or trying this. I want them to become rabid consumers for you. How many of you in here have had a family member try Multi-Chi? How many of you in here have your family members, every single close personal family member right now using the hand soap, face soap, shampoo, and conditioner?
We don't have it.
Oh, you don't have them here? Well, then we're going to get them here. There you go. Then that's my job, because that's going to be. How many of you in here wish you had some all-natural, wholesome, healthful household cleaners to clean your houses with? We're going to bring those. That's the next stage of development. And why? Huh?
When? Tomorrow.
Well, the household cleaning stuff, that's probably about 12 months. Why? There's a next generation lead product along with Multi-Chi that's underway for May. By the way, why do these things take time? Let me give you an example. If you say I want to come out with a product, you're looking at an 8 to 9 month development cycle. If you're going to do it right. If you want to compress, maybe 6. But at that point, every single person on the team is psychotically bananas nuts. Because for most products, particularly consumer products, your initial production run can be as much as 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks. That's when everything else is done. Everything else is done because the manufacturer's got to gear up and it's your first run, and they're going to do some testing, figure it out, and then you're probably looking at a 10-week process to get you into their production line. Before that happens, you have to have had all the marketing, all the labeling ready to go. Before you did that, you've got all this test and trial and the whole bit. When you say, let's do a product, or we've got enough basic research, and now you've got to go into taste variations and stuff, you're looking at an 8 to 9 month process. Okay? So how fast is all, now can you speed line something? Yeah, but then you typically don't have the highest, you can, because all manufacturers have core stuff and you can wrap some stuff. If I said I need a product for February, I can have one. It's going to suck. I mean, it's not going to be good. It'll be. I can pitch it. It'll have a really pretty label, and I'll have a pretty brochure, and I'll tell you it's great. But those things take some time. But the mantra, the mentality, is because because it could be one of 2 things. If in Holland, if there are any restrictive processes in terms of external products coming in, and there's not usually, because actually here is where there's a huge amount of distribution that comes right from Amsterdam out. It's a huge portal into Europe. So we'll figure that out. In fact, next week when I go back, that was the last thing. There were things we had to do coming out of the event. Next week on Monday, I'm sitting down because we're looking at their entire product flow chart, which they have for newer markets and all markets based upon what products do they have, what's our total product line, what's our projection, what's our process. It's about inventory management. But here's the vision of where we're going. And I mentioned it at the table. Every person who joins has this sphere of people around them, every person on the planet, that if they are taught how to approach them properly, those folks will try something for them. By the way, let me share a thought with all of you, and we'll talk about it after we take a break here in a couple minutes. I believe that the hot market system, we did the test. I'd like you to try it for 30 days. I'd like you to try it for 30 days. Give me your feedback. Now that I've gone through this process, because we wanted to test something that was so simple, such a no-brainer, anybody can do it. I would, again, I'm going to share with you what I do. This is information. This is not me as the company. This is Curtis, top global leader. I would, starting tomorrow, with every one of my new enrollees, I would take that hot market script and I would say 90 days. I would talk to every one of my hot market and say, I'd like you to try this product for 90 days. You get the best results. Why? The hot market approach has nothing to do with the product price, the length of time. It has nothing to do. It has to do with a close relationship that I said, I'm starting a business. I'd like your help. I'm not asking you to join it. I don't even need you to be a long-term customer. For the next 90 days, I need 8 to 10 trial consumers who will try my product. That's its full impact cycle. They will give me feedback so I can market successfully. I want you to buy it, use it for 90 days, etc. Here's what it costs. Here's what it does. At the end of 90 days, if you want to keep using it, keep going. If not, don't ever have to do it again. Can I count on you? The way it started and the way it ended in our relationship is what made it happen. Everything else was just stuff. Hi, starting a business, would like your help, don't need you to join it, don't even need to be a long-term customer. I've made it real crystal clear. Everything in the middle, you can't screw that up. Say anything you want along those lines, we'll send you the scripts. Anything along those lines, you just can't mess it up. Just somewhere in there, get the price and what it is. That's it. Can I count on you? I think that it's very possible that the results will drop 20%. 80% of the people, not of the 100% of the people who would have said yes at 30 days, 80% will still say yes. Of the 20% who might not now, I'd say, well, would you at least try it for 30 days to give me an initial feedback? Why? And by the way, we did this purposely. Let's try this. Let's see how the field does with this. Let's now go here. I'm telling you this not as Curtis from the company. I'm telling you this as Curtis, field leader. Having tested, and because I always test in my groups, within small groups, to see how we can refine it, and then I would do 90 days. Why? Because when they say no, I'd say, well, would you at least do 30? Because now I think they'd feel like a real idiot if they don't do 30. And for me, it's simple. Okay, well, would you at least try it maybe one time for 30 days to give me some feedback?
90 days you put in the system immediately. And
Because here's what happens at 90 days. The first purchase is the important one. I start with a Pro Business Kit. I have 16 bottles of Multi-Chi. I want to keep one for myself. I have 4 Shake. Let's say I want to keep 2 for myself. So I would like to move 15 Multi-Chi and 2 Shake, just to see. So I just start firing away. Hey, let's do this. Call them. Hey, let's do this. Try this out. I'm going to say 90. If not, will you try 30? Because all I want to do is I want a new person to move this product so it's no longer in their house. So when they do their auto ship, it truly is just for them. And now they have a story where they can say, I moved almost 6,000 NACA stuff. Really simple. How'd you do that?
If you ask them to do 3 months, they need to do another order.
No, here's the way it works. Yeah, in the system, now, in fact, by the way, what time was Frank doing that call?
9:30.
Is it 8:30 or 9:30?
9:30.
It's 9:30 somewhere, but is that 9:30 here or 9:30 somewhere else? Or is it 8:30 here or 8:30 somewhere else? I was just curious. Anyway, it was just a thought. Keep an eye on it, because if it is, then I think everybody ought to listen into it.
9:30, yeah.
Okay, 9:30. All right, then here's the way it works. We can stop right there. Right now in the system, you could have a hot market. I could have you on the phone. You say, okay, sure, I'll try it. Great. Let's just get you registered now. I'll get the product shipped to you. What will happen is in the system, you'll go in and you'll just enter them in the system. Just you can be, in fact, right there, right then, right. Great, good. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. Got your name, address, phone number. Get their mobile number. In the future, we're going to start having text programs in all markets. That may be 3 years from now, but we build the future now. Get their mobile number, including any other things, and say, great, give me your credit card number, let's put you in. I had somebody last night say, well, but you know they don't like to give a credit card number. I said, it's my Aunt Betty. Aunt Betty, I'm not stealing the credit card number, give me the number. And she said, oh, you're right. I said, if you're getting that, they're not your hot market. Why did you call them? I said, guys, let's keep this simple. We can make excuses, we can make money, can't do both. Okay, fine, I'm drive by your house, we'll do it on your computer here in a second. Whatever it is, here's what happens. When you put them in the system, there is now or there will be tonight when they turn on, there is now a order number or an item number. There's one for multi-chi, there's one for vanilla shake and one for chocolate shake. And here's what happens. This can be the multi-chi hot order. Here's what the system does. The system charges them 358 NOK, or whatever it is converted in currency, Danish kroner. Here's what, or euro, it'll charge them in euro. What it does is it charges them for the product plus shipping. The company has all that money. You're going to take your bottle, you're going to pay, and you're going to ship it to them. The second they verify they've got it, the company's going to send you the entire amount. Boom. Why does the company have to wait till they have it? Because the company charged their card. If they never get it, they can ask for their money back, so the company has to wait to make sure they got it. It's very simple. The second this order goes in, the very next business day, they get an email, and you get one too. You get the copy of the same email. Hello, dear trial consumer or customer. Thank you so much for supporting our brand partner. We love you. Here's our phone number, our email address. Thanks so much for being a part of the family. Any questions, call us or call them. We're here to help. So it's just going to be a great make them feel good. In addition, the minute you receive the product which is being shipped to you by them, please click this or reply to this email and let us know. All you got to do. Now here's what I know. If your money is sitting at the company and you just sent this to your brother, you're going to make sure your brother sends the email. I don't have to worry about that. That's a natural human. Why? Click the email, dude. I want my money. Type that. What's going to happen is the second that happens, you're going to get all the money sent to you. The system automatically sets them up in an auto ship to continue and sends them an email. By the way, your brand partner, for your benefit, has already set up all the information in the system for an ongoing monthly order at the discounted automatic order price. If you don't wish to continue, just click here. You are sent the copy of that email. Why? So you can remember to follow up and call them. Why? If you just follow up, you'd be surprised how dramatically high the ongoing process goes, how much you keep. But if you started with a 90-day conversation, it already takes place. It's already takes place. Here's what happens for you. When the first order processes, you get all the money when they simply say, I've got it. And the reason we want them to confirm, if there's a problem, we'll coordinate with you. We got to figure that out. But when they get it, you get all the money. When the second order hits, which is the first order direct from the company, you receive the customer acquisition bonus. You're now in full profit. The next month, when the third one runs, depending upon how many hot market people you have, then you can potentially be earning the preferred customer commission. They are in a 90-day run. Because they're in the 90-day run, for those whose bodies do need more, there's got a toxic buildup, and because of that toxin release, they may not feel good the first 30. Everybody's okay at 90. And so what you have is a much greater chance that someone will stay as an ongoing, continuing user. But why do we do this? Because If every brand new person moves their initial order, they have their money back, and that is the story that drives the development of large organizations. Because when I am talking to a new prospect, when I'm talking to someone evaluating the business, though I show them all the possible income, though I show them all the benefits, everyone's natural reaction is, how am I going to just make sure I break even so this wasn't a bad decision? Every business on the way to profit has to get to break even. But we're talking about not what happens with you in this room. You think at a higher level. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here at 8:30 in the evening. You think at a higher level. You aren't where you build wealth. You build wealth when you make it possible for everyone to feel comfortable, including those who may have significantly less skill or background or entrepreneurial spirit, the people who wouldn't be here at 8:30 at night. When you build a mechanism for the masses that welcomes them, gives them a choice, and makes it simple for them if they choose to go into action to get a good reward, you've set a foundation. That foundation builds giants. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do this. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. Everybody run to the potty, get a little leg stretching, because now that we understand the mindset, I'm going to show you some specific things that we've done, both in the compensation plan and how it all dovetails together. I'm going to show you exactly the new presentation, why it was done the way it was, so you as leaders understand what we're preparing you for, and then we're going to talk about where the next stages go so you're ready for it and you can lead. Let's go. Everybody ready to go? All right, awesome. I show you concepts, the IT department does execution. I'll make sure they've done this. Because in Holland you guys use an ideal system, which means somebody has a PIN number and nobody really wants to give you a PIN number. What we'll do is there are obviously 2 order areas. There's a customer order area where they would order directly. There's a brand partner order area where you would. What happens is there's an actual product ID number that is designed for the hot order of a Multi-Cheese or a vanilla or chocolate shake. Separate pricing, obviously. The standard normal, and this is where it's different than the 4-month in this regard. The standard normal one-off, and I'll get to the euro in a second, but in the NOK it's $3.49. It's $2.99 if you're on an auto order. And then my understanding is it's a little bit lower if you're on a 4-month. The problem with the 4-month, and I'll show you why, I don't have a problem with the 4-month auto ship, I guess, if you wanted to start somebody there at some point. The challenge is how you work a 4-month auto ship into the mindset that I just shared with you. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But all of these included 59 NOK shipping, okay? You know, so plus whatever euro. When we set up the hot order, it's automatically at this price, even if they only do it for 30 days. Why? Because I want to create a number, and that equaled 358 NOK. So the hot order for Multi-Cheese is 358 NOK. So when I talk to someone, I say it's 358 NOK, shipping included, to your door. I don't say it's this plus that, it's this. The shake is 449 NOK plus 59 NOK shipping. So I said it's 508 NOK with including shipping to your door. So I only have to say one thing. Okay?
Also on the website, it will now shipping will be included in the price?
Well, it will on this. The shipping is included on that one. The reason is when they see a charge or they see an invoice, it is the $2.99 plus 59. But it's different on the hot. The hot's going to come shipping included. The reason is if you, in fact, hand it to them, when you buy a professional kit, you get 16 bottles. They probably aren't that interested in buying 16 bottles. So technically, you got a shipping discount, but if they were to buy it individually, they would have to pay that shipping. So I quote them the price and shipping because that is the price including shipping to their door. I happen to have a bottle, So if I hand it to you, technically I made an extra, not 59 NOK, but maybe 50 NOK. Because if I divided the shipping over all 16 bottles, it's less. But I have to create something that is universally doable by everybody, and I can't have everybody become a math professor. So I just say, it's 358 NOK. Why? Their second month, it would be 358 NOK. Whatever it is converted into euro. It would be, and whatever currency it is anywhere in the world, it'll be 358 NOK. The shake, 1 month at a time, will be 358 NOK. And the reason is, we were saying, let's get away from a 4-month auto ship. It still exists. If you want to do 4-month auto ships, tear it up. Just keep going. Not a problem. Nothing is ever taken away. You don't do that. We add new things, we teach new things, and we say, now let's watch and see what happens. I already know where it's going to end up. I'll just let everybody do that on their own. Because when the group doing 4-month auto ships is getting their fanny whipped by the group that's not, they'll go, gee, I think I'll do that. And I'll show you mathematically why that will happen, okay? But what we will do is we'll simply take and put the hot SKUs here. So you could do the same thing. Here's my ID number. Go here. Here's the link. Go here. Click. Select hot. I will ship you the product. There you go. If it happens to be your aunt across town, you can always drive over, hand her the bottle, and now you made all 358 NOK because you didn't have to pay for shipping. But when they say, I've gotten my order to the customer happiness department, we send the entire 358 NOK or entire euro to you. We send the whole thing. We're just a process. EQ on that, this is for personal physical inventory you have at your house only. EQ is going to become a credit card or an ideal merchant processor for you. So you don't have to send me the cash or whatever. The payment transaction you don't have to worry about anymore. EQ says, use us. We just need them to tell us that you got it to them. And we're sending all the money to you. Let us just help you process the hot orders more simply. Does that make sense? So I'll get them to put that here in the customer side. So if you know, obviously, and it may already be there. I'll just go check. Because I know that at one point during this conversation, Ideal came up as I mentioned. Whether or not it's there yet, I'll check. Because all those things are being turned on tonight in the next couple of days. I'll make sure that happens. What happens then is the system automatically sets up the regular auto ship, but it's not a 4-month required. They can cancel it at any time. And the reason I believe we need to do that is I think customers need to be happy. If someone uses MultiChief for just 30 days, if it's not here yet, I promise you it will be, because that is the vision of the company. Things like hair care products, we can do those everywhere once we get through registration. The right household, natural, non-toxic cleaning stuff, you can do them anywhere once you go through registration. The reason I want to do that is that I see a vision of ecology, and so does Frank, long term. The sexy product got your attention, but the sexy product may not be that sexy in 6 months when you just get tired of it, or you just don't. Because nutrition is an extra habit. But most people, how many folks were at the Saturday thing with Eric? How many folks were there last Saturday with Eric? Raise your hand. Okay. Eric Worre gave an example last weekend. Were you there? Okay. Eric gave an example. One of the top earners in network marketing, one of the elite premier earners for a long time, is a guy named Bill Britt. Bill passed away a while back. Bill was and Britt International was the #2 income organization in Amway. #1 was the Yeager, conglomerate, Bertie and Dexter Yeager and their whole, family. #2 was Bill Britt. And Bill Britt, and it's a quote I've used forever, and Eric used it. He said, success is very simple. In my career, personally, by myself, I personally showed 1,200 people the opportunity and the plan. Out of the 1,200 people that I sat down and showed them, drew out the plan for them, 900 said no and 300 said yes. Of the 300 who said yes, 85 did a lot, 35 did a whole lot, and 11 made me a multi-millionaire. At one point, Brit International, I think, had 2 or 3 G5s. They and the family and staff, flew around on their own private plane. A big organization. And that was the math. 1,200 turned into 11. You want to be a mega multimillionaire? Go show the EQ story and plan to 1,200 people. And the reason is those are the numbers. If you look at the numbers that said yes, 300 out of 1,200, 1 out of 4, I have been teaching from the beginning when I showed everybody the model of the HOT system and asking the questions, are you happy? Do you have a plan? Would you like to see one? And once they look, 7 or 8 will say no, 2 to 3 will say yes. Why? Because those are the numbers. 2.5, 1 out of 4, 300 out of 1,200. How do you become wealthy? Go tell this story and show this plan to 1,200 people. You'll be really rich. Most people show it to 2 and quit. I share that with you because there's not a big secret here. We're trying to make it all fancy. But here's what Amway does, and here's where ecology should go. Ecology, it's in our nature. It's in our nature to what? Be healthy. It's in our nature to care about our planet and our people. Multi-Chi and Shake, we care about our people. But you know something? Amway sells today everything but used cars. Seriously, you look at Amway, they got like 5,000 things to sell. One of the things they teach is take a look at all the stuff we sell and go to your friends and family and say, walk through your house with this checklist, look at every name brand of every product and see what type of product, and if it's a type of product that I have one, check it off and buy it from me. I'm your family. I just started my own little store business. Why would you go to the grocery store and give money to a stranger when you can help me? Got dirty underwear? Wash your clothes with my soap. The reason is Lisa had a conversation once, years and years ago. She actually called Bill Britt before he'd become a big giant, 20, 23, 24 years ago. And he actually answered the phone. And she had a chance to talk with him for about 30 minutes, and she'll tell you the story. She asked him, what are the things you think led to your success? And he basically, I can't remember exactly the answer, but it was basically 2 things. Laundry detergent and inspiration. I inspired people, and they all have dirty clothes. So everybody had something they could get from me. And everybody in my group had something they could offer to everybody. In other words, you get paid on the point volume of the product movement through your organization. Multi-Chi throws 25 points through your organization. Does it really have to be Multi-Chi, or does it just need to be 25 points of something? So the power of network marketing, if I can get people to start with initial personal inventory, because if they start with a significant inventory, they are more likely, it's eating in their mind the big box, I ought to do something. If I give them a simple first step that anybody can do, and based on the unique characteristics of each market, make sure they can do it in your market. So it's ideal here, it's a credit card there, whatever it is. So that without you being present, they go into action. You can then watch those who go into action more strongly and move them further along. And in the process, why would I say 90 instead of 30? Because not only is the product usage more consistent, but then I have plenty of time to go back and say, whether you keep using this stuff or not, I just need your feedback. But what I do want you to do long term, you choose whether you want to use Multi-Chi or not, or the Shake or not, or any, but I do want to know that you're going to support me with all the regular products, because after all, I am family. And that's how you'll build a giant organization. Does that make sense? Okay, now let me show you the actual process. I want to show you that as we go through this. Because the question also, excuse me, came up at dinner. And the question was, so how do you see in a digital age, Peter had asked, he said, well, how do you see, the way online commerce and stuff, how has it affected and changed network marketing? And it hasn't really, it affected it. We realized later it never changed it. Network marketing is about building a community. It's building a place where people of like-minded, at least initial like-minded aspiration or dreams, over time it just becomes a place they love to be a part of. But it's about human connection. And the ultimate human connection is when you can do this. Say, hi, how are you? And it's touching. We actually, skin to skin. You know, that's why we see old friends and we hug. It's just what we do. The biggest reason for a weekly meeting is not because it's a weekly meeting, because on a weekly basis I want to sponsor people. In my view, weekly meetings were more for the members of the team than it was for the guest. Because the members of the team, I am certain, are interested in the team because they're already on it. The guest, I have no idea. I'm going to give them some information, leave the choice to them. It was an opportunity for people to build and strengthen deeper relationships, for them to see others on the team moving up in success, which may motivate them further. But if nothing else, it's the club that they get to go to that's fun and cool. What happened was years ago when technology really started getting and developing in many ways, when I started 23 years ago, we weren't doing anything like we're doing today. What happened was everybody, I think, has a desire to do things easier. You know, I need to lose 20 kilos. I want to just take a pill and have it be overnight. I don't want to have to do this other thing. You know, I want to get in shape, or I want to, get all the wrinkles gone. I wish I could take a pill and it's done 5 minutes later. When technology came out, I think what happened is there was a period of time, that 10, 15 years there, where networking for newer companies went away from local meetings. Because why would I want to go if I can do it all online? I'll send you a link to a website, or I'll, And I've never seen, there's never been a company that survived. The giants never changed. The big companies never changed. People went to local meetings every single week, and then in large enough communities, twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. What did they do? They had people tweet from the meetings and then post on Facebook from the meetings, but they had the meetings because it was a place for human beings to connect. It also allowed this. As long as there was a corporate culture and there was consistency, if the meetings were done if all official meetings on a corporate calendar were done the exact same way with the exact same information, even though there might be again, in different markets, there might be different products, because this product's great, but it's just never going to be approved one day in Thailand ever. It's not going to be in Thailand. But the meeting is the same, and the principle's the same, and the information is done the same way, and if we've created that culture in the team, if we created that culture in the company, that you can be in that country over there, and if you send your friend in this country here to my meeting, we will treat them with respect. They'll see the same information. You know that what they're going to see because we're consistent. We will find out who sent them. We will enroll them in your organization, but we will take care of them here, because when I send a friend to you, I know you'll do the same thing. When you build a culture like that, that's when you create tremendous power. That's why we said the reason meetings need to be weekly is because it creates that opportunity for renewed relationship and expanded relationship. And they go from a room like this one day to a larger hotel to one day really, really big places. Here's the key. We talked to some folks, though, in our process of evaluation. They say, yeah, but I just hate going to those meetings. They said, well, how often do you do a meeting? Once a month. And we said, why? They said, because they're boring. They're the same meeting every day, every time. It's the same person. And that's when we realized, okay, people don't understand it. So we said, we're going to rebuild the meeting culture. Let me tell you what a local meeting is. A local meeting is an opportunity for leadership development, not leader glorification. It is not where leaders get their ego stroked. It's where leaders get out of the way and let new people have some fun. Here's the right mindset of great leadership. On day one, your internal desire should be, I want to become on stage capable as fast as possible. Doesn't mean you actually have to stand on stage. It means if you look at the people sometimes who are on the stages, sometimes they're there because they're better at telling the story. They're good at telling the company story, telling the industry story, telling the product story, telling the compensation story. Therefore, there's nothing wrong with aspiring to being great at those things. Do you know how you get great at those things? You start off by being very bad at them. And you do them a lot of very bad times until you get comfortable. Then you do a lot of them very okay, and then you do a lot of them a little bit better, and then you do a lot of them really good. Meetings are about getting not a few, but a lot involved. And so I'm going to go through a process, and then I'm going to show it to you. And when I show you the new standard of how the meetings will be done, you'll go, aha. This is the purpose of a local meeting. The purpose of a local meeting is to allow a new person to see ecology and to see all the important stuff, but also to receive the most important experiences. And here's what it is. People make a decision to buy or to take action because their heart got excited. They justify the decision because their head said, it's okay, it makes sense. They don't buy because of this, or they take action because their heart went flutter. They feel good about it because their head said it's okay. So we have to have information, but you have to have emotion. And here's what happens. When new people attend, they don't know anything yet much, oftentimes, and they're usually starting from this neutral point. If we want them to do something, we got to get them all the way up here to a high emotional point. We do that with a combination of two things. Information, which is brain, and emotion, which is heart. And there's only one way that people can connect. They connect to other people. It is stories that create connection, not facts. The only reason we have facts is to have some clutter in between stories, because the stories are what we connect to. There are 3 questions that people have when they come into a meeting or when they are looking at ecology. If you don't answer them, they'll never come to a decision to participate. Question number 1, is it real? Is what you're showing me, is it real, or is this just a good con game? Is this just a well-rehearsed play and there's no substance? Is it like the old, cowboy westerns, but if I look behind, it's just a fake building. It's not is this the real thing? 2, what do you have here that is of my benefit? What's for me? Yeah, I'm glad to know you're making a lot of money, and I'm glad that, all this other stuff's really cool. Well, that's you. What about me? What's in this for me? What do you have here for me? And 3, can I do this? If you don't answer that question, they're never going to wish to be a part of your team. I know they can do this. The question is, do they feel they can do this? This is the biggie. These are just there. These can be fast and quick. That's the one that makes the difference. Only one thing gets people to believe this: the stories of real people like them. So here's the way a meeting works. There are basically, if we're going to put together an ideal meeting, there are 4 people who are a part of the front of the room execution of a meeting. But there will be a total of about 13 or 14 people who will have participated in the meeting. Some from within, say this is a meeting, we've got 50 or 100 people. Some will participate from within the audience, some will participate from the front. But there will be 13 or 14 people, 12, 13, 14 by the time you're done, but 4 primary. The 4 primary are a host, and then speakers 1, 2, and 3. Everybody thinks you have to be really good to be at the front of the room. The only person who needs to be the best available, they don't have to be great, but they're the best available, is speaker 3. Everybody else can be brand new, it can be brand new, pretty much. There's very little coaching necessary, and if they're willing to get up there and overcome their fear and love people and just, hey, I'm going to give it my all, you can have a great meeting. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth from this drawing to the thing. I'm actually going to draw you the diagram, and then I'm going to show you the actual meeting. Here's the way it works. Host has some responsibilities. Number 1, they've got a little bit of, let's call it just housekeeping. They've got some announcements. There are basically 3 announcements they need to make. The toilets is a great way to start. Before the meeting, whoever's going to host, about 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get started here in about 2 or 3 minutes so that we don't have any interruptions. Now's your chance. It's like the pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing. We're about to turn on the seatbelt sign. If you need to go to the bathroom, now's the time to run. Boom. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to, the toilets are just outside and around the corner to the right. Please do that now, and then we're going to get started in about 3 minutes. Brand new person can figure that out. Find out where the bathrooms are, make a lot of noise, and tell them where it is. Go, come back, we're getting started. As the meeting starts, the host welcomes everybody and says there's, by the way, 2 more announcements we'd like to make. And here's what they do. If everybody pull out your cell phone real quick, they've got a new function and they've actually installed it. For some of you, you may not even be aware it's there. It's magic. If you'll pull your cell phone out and look at it, it's called the silent button. Please hit that now. That way we don't interrupt the meeting. And questions. Many of you will have questions, I promise you, but if you'll hold your questions and make note of them, most all of them usually get answered during the presentation, but when we're done, any remaining questions will stay here until you get them all answered. So that way, if others don't have the same question, we can get through. We want to respect your time, so please hold those. We'll get those at the end. That's what the host does, number one. Number two, they do what's called their ID, their identification. They do their story. Here's what happens when the host, so this is where I'm trying to go. Let me show you how it really works. When the host gives their story, emotion comes up a little bit. You're on the road. You're headed that way. That's why the host is there. That's story number one. They've just heard a first human connection. Their story is about ecology. I've been involved for only 3 weeks, but here's what I was, and here's what's happened in just a few short weeks. I've got some customers, a team member or two. I'm having a blast. It's great to have you here. 3, they intro speaker number one. This is the first presentation speaker, okay? And the host is done. They're done actually probably for the rest of the meeting. As a result, this is a great thing to give a brand new person to do. Now the host may come back at the very end if there's a special announcement they need to do, like don't forget the upcoming training event with Eric Worre. It's just some little cleanup. But usually the host is done. Speaker number one. When you introduce a speaker, you don't tell their story. You mention 2, at most maybe 3 cool things about them. Our first speaker, let me bring our first speaker. It's great to have them. They've also just been a part of ecology a short period of time, maybe about 3 months, but in that time they've really done a great job being able to share the business and the concept of the company with others. Please welcome, I just mentioned they've done a couple of cool things, not anything in grand. Please welcome to the front of the room and then call out their name. Last thing you say is the name. Please welcome and give their name. It's just like how they introduce people on any stage, you know, the big build-up. Here's what speaker one does when they come up. Number one, they do their story, their ID. Why? It's the most important thing. Now we have 2 stories that we've gotten. Here's what happened. The host finished, introduced speaker one. Speaker one starts by telling your story. Speaker one, the emotion comes up. Now, here's their job. We have to start addressing these questions. First of all, speaker one deals with, is it real? So the second thing they do is they do the industry and they do the company. Those are facts. You've seen the presentation. It's just you could literally read how good does speaker one need to be. They'll never screw up their story because it's their story. They tell the truth about where they are in ecology, how they got there, and what the benefits have been. I'll talk in a minute about how you actually construct a story. But they tell their story so people can connect with them. They then talk about the industry and the company, the first few slides. I don't care if they literally, well, don't turn your back. So if you need to, take the slides, put them on a 3x5 card and say, let me tell you about the industry, and read them. They're right there, but you can go ahead. It's not how good you are. Your story was what we really needed. And it allows a new person to get experience without, you know, and by the way, if you're brand new and terrified, you know what you stand up and say? By the way, folks, I love ecology, but I'm brand new at this. It's the first time I've done it, and I'm terrified. So if you'll just bear with me, I'm going to try my best to give you, you know what? They'd all be terrified too, and they just go, I like that person. They're being honest. I appreciate that, okay? So they do the facts. Next, they intro speaker two. How do they do that? Just tell a couple of things about them and bring them up. And here's what happened. Their story brought the emotion up, and the facts keep people flat. So that's the industry and the company. And speaker one is done. They intro speaker two. Now I know this is going to be a stretch, and you're going to have to think real hard on this one. What do you think's the first thing that speaker two does? Bingo! Yeah, all right, he wins a prize. I don't know what it is. We'll get it to you later.
Bottle of wine.
No, bottle of wine. There you go. Yeah, after all, not my wine. Now they've heard their third story. This person now goes through product. Why? Because they need to know, is this real? Mostly the industry and company has checked this off. This profession, in one of the worst financial decades globally, went from 80 billion to 180 billion, 40 million participants to almost 100 million participants. We're pretty much economic bad time proof. People want control of their life. You go through the company statistics, it's been around this long, it's had this stability. Company and industry, we've pretty much answered, is it real? But that's what Speaker 1 did, they're addressing. When Speaker 2 tells their story, the emotion comes up. Because it's an identification thing. Then they do product. Okay? Product is partially real, but product begins the what's in it for me. Wow. Even if I feel really great, I begin to learn about this product. And here's what the second speaker does. About right here, they bring up product. This is the third thing they'll do. They bring up, whoops, gotta go back. They do the product, and they do the product testimonials, the product stories. You pick 4 or 5 people. A product story should be no more than 30 seconds. If it's longer than that, they ought to get a hose and shoot it at you, because it's really quick. Product stories are seated in the audience, and they stand where they are. They don't go to the front. What happens psychologically is that for anybody sitting in an audience when someone's presenting, it's almost like this is us and this is them. So we've got the team up here and the team out there. When people stand up from in the audience, it's like we're all sitting out here and they're like, ooh, one of us. Oh, cool, my teammates. And so the product testimonials stand up where they are, and it's really quick. It can be a story of how it helped you or a family member or a friend. It's a quick thing. You know, my grandfather used to have 4 heart medications they took, and something, in fact, it was on one of the stories that somebody gave us last weekend. After 2 months, they were down to two pills. Now they're down to 1. And then after 7 months or 8 months, they were off completely. 30 seconds, thanks so much, boom. They start hearing 4 or 5 stories, and here's what happens. The product stories start to really take things up, because it's boom, 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 right in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what's happening is they're beginning to say, hey, I see something in here for me. In fact, I've got a friend who could use this. Then Speaker 2 introduces. Yep.
Quick question. Do you inform the people who do the testimonials, product testimonials?
I would, as you see people coming in, well, you can inform them. I would. This is a real teamwork thing. And as you listen to people's experiences, you ask people, would you mind giving your testimonial? It's only 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Would you share with people what your experience was? You know, and they'll say, sure, absolutely. And so, I would always, as I see the folks there, I'd ask a few, will you share your story? Then they introduce Speaker 3. Now, Speaker 3 is the best available. Now, listen carefully, best available. They don't have to be the best. They don't have to be great. Nobody here has to be great. You don't have to be great to start. You got to start if you're ever going to get great. So don't worry about it. They'd be terrified to be up here. It's okay to not be perfect. Just come from the heart, you're going to be fine. Speaker 3, though, what's the first thing they do? Exactly. The 4th person up, and they are now tell their story, their identification. They've now had, well, by the way, if you've got product stories, if you've got 3 to 4 to 5, let's say you got 4 more product stories, they've now heard 1, 2, 3, 4 through 8. Now Speaker 3, they're the 9th story they've heard. And now that happens, then we get into the meat of what's in it for me. So Speaker 3 comes up, they tell their story, and then they do the comp plan. And if you look at the way the presentation is laid out, it's laid out perfectly to fit this sequence. The one you've seen, the first look you guys have seen forever. This is the order it goes in: industry, company, product, comp plan. The reason the person doing the comp plan needs to simply be the best available is because here's where, after the comp plan's done, here's where it cranks. They started with their story, got the emotion up, they went through the comp plan and showed people the possibility, and then this is where you bring people to front. And this is where you want 3 to 4 really powerful. And by the way, really powerful, now this is where people are taught how to give their story. If you want to, for those who were there this weekend, you saw. If not, I'll jot it down. Jot it down right now. Here's how you tell your story of your experience with ecology. It should never take more than 90 seconds, preferably about 60. Product, 30 is pushing it. Maybe 20, because it's about hitting the point, not giving a dissertation. It'll just kill people. Here's your story. Number 1, what is your name? 2, where are you from? 3, what did you do, or either what do you do now or what did you do? And usually an offset of that, what is or was your frustration? It could be something that you love and still do, but there's a frustration. I am a school teacher. I love it. It's my passion. I just wish I made more money to help my family have more flexibility. That was my frustration. You know, I was doing whatever it was and I really didn't like it, or I'd reached a point it was driving me nuts. Hi, my name's Curtis. I'm from Dallas, Texas. In the past, I used to be a real estate broker. My greatest frustration was just every time I completed a transaction, that was wonderful, except I had no more income unless another one was completed. I always had to seem that I had to make the money more important. I never had time with the family. Boom, 10 seconds into it, everybody knows who I am, where I was from, and what my frustration was. Next, 4. Since I found ecology, since I saw ecology, here's what has happened, or here's what I saw. This can be a brand new person who's only been a part of this family for a couple of weeks. They don't have this big success story, however you would determine that. They very well might have moved all 16 of their professional kit bottles through the hot market in 3 days. That's a powerful story. Or it could just be them talking about what they now get it, they see, they believe. You know, when I saw ecology for the first time, I believed that, in other words, I believe that now I will be able to have greater time freedom, provide for my family in the future, take care of my parents, and most importantly, do the community service things I've always wanted to do if I just had the time and ability to do it. What it is there are 4 things. Since I found ecology, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a story. It's not about money. It's what is, if it's anything financial, it's what did it do? More time freedom. You know, vacations, my family deserves a vacation, hasn't had one in 3, whatever it is, that's what it's not the money, it's what it does. Pick 4 things that you love about it, and the most important is what you give last. But since I found ecology, I finally believed, or I finally have now been able to achieve a circumstance where 1, 2, 3, but most important of all, boom, 4. This whole thing can happen in 60 seconds. Hi, my name's Curtis Broom from Dallas, Texas. In fact, I'm still a real estate broker. My greatest frustration is it takes so much time to try and be successful and provide my family. I have no time to be with my family. So when I saw ecology, I saw that I could finally have a way to do something in addition to what I was doing, but over time, I can get control of my life. And in the last 6 months, I have now been able to cut back the hours. I've started to create a kind of revenue that I'm already seeing the future of the family. I've spent more time with my kids. My wife and I have had a greater opportunity to spend time together. We've been on a family vacation, but most importantly, I realize now I'm going to be able to create the wealth retirement that my family deserves. 45 seconds. Make sense? That's a story. And so when we bring people up, these folks they do need to know we've helped them because they have a story to be told, but we want to help it make emotional sense. And if somebody takes a 45-second story and takes 5 minutes to tell it, they'll just kill you. And so boom, 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 boom. And now that we're done, the third speaker, here's when they close the meeting, the first part of the meeting. And what happens is there's a 10-minute break, and then the most critical part is what we call a 15-minute quick start. And speaker 3 does all this. And here's what, let me draw the rest of the diagram because this is the actual outline of the meeting. So story, 2, comp plan. This answers what's in it for me. 3, here's where they do the testimonial stories about the business side in terms of what it did. This answers question 3. So what's in it for me? Question 2 is product and comp plan. Can I do this? That's what that part right there. That's why the best person is not there to describe the comp plan. The best person is there because that's the meeting. Everything up to this point has been for right there, so people can hear from real people telling real stories of how this has allowed them to have better control in their life. That's where the meeting happens. This speaker 3 needs to, as they go through the comp plan, prepare for this, because this is where the magic happens. The emotion is where it needs to be, and the magic happens there. Everything else prepared for a 15-minute quick start. And I'll show it to you. There are parts of things that happen during the compensation discussion that you touch on and say, but we'll talk more about that in a bit, or I'll cover this more later. This is the later part, okay? So they do the stories, 4 they close, directing to the 15-minute quick start, and number 5 they do the 15-minute quick start, and then we're done. So let me actually show you the presentation. And we'll do this really smooth and quick because I want to... He's recording it. You want to dial in and see if everybody can hear it real fast?
In 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes? Okay. Let's pull this up. And then you just tell me when. I'll stop because I think that
Are you logged into the go-to?
No, I probably didn't get a... I don't think Frank gave me a... I can no, matter of fact, I know. He didn't send it to me. And... boom. Okay. There we go. So you just cue me and let me know, and then we'll see if you can get it on a microphone speaker. Everybody knows these slides. There have been a few extras thrown in here, but we'll go through this in a way. More importantly, I want you to see the transitional flow. This is where the host starts. The host starts with this slide, and they do their simple story, welcome up speaker number 1. Speaker number 1, who then begins the common questions, they begin this conversation. The reason a new person can do this is just asking for engagement. We've all seen this. It's a simple thing. I could just ask, how many of you would like these kinds of things? Because most of us have been taught this is the traditional plan, yet here's what we'd like to try and replace it with. Doesn't it seem unusual that someone from their ages of 20 to 65, their most powerful years, they end up working, thinking that this is what, wouldn't it be fun if you could work and have fun the whole time? Whatever it is, we've all seen these slides. We leverage these trends, and we are able to do so, and it obviously works. Look at our profession. These are just facts. A brand new person could do this part by I could literally say, it's your first time, read the slide. Trust me. Don't freak out. Just read the slide when you're done. Introduce us. Tell them, I'm sorry, I'm scared here. I'm going to read these slides. They love it. And here's the company, okay? Now that we've got the company part, they'd say, now I want to talk to you about some of our extraordinary products, or what I want to do is I really want to bring someone up who's magic with this part of our conversation. So the first person's gone through the industry and company, and now they introduce a second speaker. This person is really a true lover of our product. They've developed a great consumer base, and they teach people how to do that. But they've also been dramatically affected by the power of them. I'd like you to welcome up the person who's going to go through the product selection with you. Please bring to the front of the room with a warm applause. Boom. Speaker 2 comes up. Speaker 2 leads off with their story. While this is sitting there, say, I really do love the products. In fact, here's what's happened to me and some members of my family. That's the story, how I got here. Here's a great product. Let's talk about it a second. Here's another great product, and we have many more great products. In fact, let's talk about, or let me let you share with, boom, let's have a couple of people share their story. And so speaker 2 just goes around the room. They talk about some of our extraordinary products, or what I want to do is I really want to bring someone up who's magic with this part of our conversation. So the first person's gone through the industry and company, and now they introduce a second speaker. This person is really a true lover of our product. They've developed a great consumer base, and they teach people how to do that. But they've also been dramatically affected by the power of them. I'd like you to welcome up the person who's going to go through the product selection with you. Please bring to the front of the room with a warm applause. Boom. Speaker 2 comes up. Speaker 2 leads off with their story. While this is sitting there, say, I really do love the products. In fact, here's what's happened to me and some members of my family. That's the story, how I got here. Here's a great product. Let's talk about it a second. Here's another great product, and we have many more great products. In fact, let's talk about, or let me let you share with, boom, let's have a couple of people share their story. And so speaker 2 just goes around the room. They talk about it for a few seconds. A brand new person could do this stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want to try it after all those facts? A couple people stand up. We're creating more stories. When that's done, we've now had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 stories. They then say, now we want to talk to you about how people get rewarded. Because we have a wonderful reward model around all these great products, if you just share the products. Let me introduce speaker 3. Speaker 3 comes up, gives their story, and then they say, yes, we like to pay you for doing simple things. So when you attract a customer, attract a brand partner, because we don't get people here, we attract people here. But here's how it works. There's a variety of ways we get paid. I wanted to put in all 10 things, because before we showed them a couple, but I want them to understand there's a full-blown reward model. You can read them if you want, but say, I know it looks like a lot, and I'm not going to go through these in detail. We have all this on the website. The person who invited you can walk you through the detailed information, but the magic of this is this really divides things into 3 categories. We have stuff that helps brand new people as they just get started, start to earn an income and go into profit very quickly. We have things that help people as they're getting a little more experience and moving up through the middle part of our development process, move into full-time income if that's what they want, and begin that really taking control of their life. And as people become very good, we have great rewards for those who become great coaches and mentors. All that just sounds cool, but let's go through just a few of these things. First of all, we've all seen this slide. There's a couple of ways to start. The magic of this is no matter how you choose to start, with a professional business kit or a business kit plus, we actually have a system we call our hot market system. Now, I'm going to touch on that later in more detail, but it's a system that can take anybody, regardless of their background, and following a very simple step-by-step process, just a couple of simple steps. We have people who sometimes within a few hours, but usually within a few days, they can move potentially their entire kit and get all their money back that fast. But we'll talk more about that later. But we do have another program called GoPro 30, because whether you start with a professional kit, at which point you are what we call a pro status, or if you start with a smaller kit, we want to help you move that product that fast so you will achieve that pro status in 30. Again, that's something else I'll talk about later. We'll cover that later. Here's what just happened. This slide prompts me. The best person, they don't have to be an expert at everything because they can follow the slides, but they just want to remember here, there's different options you can choose. The number one thing that you want to do with a new person is, as we show them the business, you want a new person to create a result and to see the result. If someone previously, before we went through these modifications, if they acquired a consumer, they didn't get paid immediately. They got paid if they got multiples. But we need them to get paid every single time they do a single thing. Remember we said it's about creating trust? I need to be able to tell people if you do a simple thing, you get a simple result, and you get a simple reward. Someone acquires a single customer. Now, if you use a hot system, you get full payment reward. The very next month when it processes, you get a customer acquisition bonus. If someone has already moved all their product and they just go get one customer, they get a customer acquisition bonus. At 65 NOK, at 100 NOK, they didn't get a check. As a leader, I need them to get a check. The amount of the check or the amount of the payment is irrelevant. I need them to get a payment. You just made $10, I just made 10,000. The difference between you and me is time and experience. I have the experience, I'll teach you. Time you have, let's go. It allows me to engage more people faster. It allows me to get them to trust me quicker. And it allows me to then take them further. Does that make sense? That was the key. We also, when we implemented the plan, we said we want to drive more money into the plan. So we started and said, let's evaluate first month. We feel that a 20% increase is pretty significant, but we know that as revenues go up, there are higher and higher commission payment targets, and the company over the next year, as revenues continue to grow, will start raising BVs even further. On some things, we've already maxed them because you can't get absurdly ridiculous. There has to be margin for the company, but there's still room for growth. And we wanted to make sure that you were aware of that, and we wanted to announce that coming straight out because we ran the math. We had to wait till all the final initial runs ran to make sure it was all there, and it was exactly where we wanted it to be. So in the presentation, we'll wrap this up real quick. So I know we've gotten a little late because of the call. The purpose of this slide is to let them see there are options, but wherever they start, you want to go here, I'll mention more. The purpose of this slide is to say we'll talk more about those two things in just a minute. The rest of this, everybody's seen. The purpose of a hot market, by the way, is to get a lot of initial consumers, and as you convert those into long-term customers, for every 3 who make an order in the next month, yours is free. By the way, they get the same. We've all seen these slides. It'll be the same thing. And then as you build a consumer group and you start to share with others, we want to help you move very quickly. If you are able to achieve success in your first 2 or 3 days, share that with others. And as you build your future, find 3 who would like to build their future with you. If you're able to do that in 30 days, it's what's called being Fast Start qualified. So this is again a slide that all of you have seen. It's part of the first look. It stays the same. Director 60, that's simply helping 3 people do what you did. If you Fast Start qualify, you are a team leader. So this part of the presentation, nothing has changed here. We only wanted to have the ability to mention that Hot Market and GoPro 30 we'll talk about in just a moment. And so we show that every single, by the way, the purpose of showing this in every single circumstance, it is a matter of you do it, just teach others to do what you did. The baseline here, by the way, jot this down. How do you make $1 million in ecology? Become a team leader. That is the brick. How do you build a brick wall? 1 brick at a time. The brick in ecology is team leader. You become team leader one time, and for the rest of your career, teach others how to get there. In fact, the one slide we did add, we're going to mention this one. We showed all 10. I want to mention this in the front end for those presenting the comp plan and why. Say, by the way, I know this may look a little confusing. The team commission is a long-term residual income. As you share with others how to have immediate success with the product and the business, and then how to have success long-term, as others join you, the team commission, not overnight but over time, is what really does create long-term generational wealth. And again, I'll show you another example of how GoPro 30 can help you move through this faster. And then we always show this scale. We show the possibility. What I would let people know is I know this may, again, look a little overwhelming. All the details are online, but let me share something with you. It's the simplicity of what we do. All you have to do is get here. If you get to team leader and let us help you do that, teaching other people to become team leader is how you come all the way to here. It's a simple process of duplication. Here's our summary. We all know what that is. And then bottom line, we're here. Now, at the summary, we're here to change lives, not at summary here. This is the last slide that we're all familiar with. This is where the speaker 3, brings up the testimonials. This is where you have people join you on stage, tell 3 or 4, they tell their story, a hot market story, or I had success in business partner creation, whatever it is. This is where the business testimonials. The minute the business testimonials are done and they have a seat, the speaker closes. Here's the way it gets closed now. I've talked about 2 things that I've not yet talked about. I've talked about hot market that allows someone to immediately return their expense and build an initial consumer base, but we'll talk more about that later. I talked about GoPro 30, but I said we'll talk more about that later. At this point, a speaker now says, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is the first part or primary part of the presentation. We're going to take a 10-minute break. If you've got questions, let's get those answered. Turn to the person who brought you, and if not, if they don't have that answer, we'll certainly help. At the end of 10 minutes, we're going to do what we call our 15-minute quick start. During that, and by the way, if you can remain, if you've got time, you're all welcome, but if not, that's okay. But during that 15 minutes, we will go through, and it only takes 15, actually it takes about 12. In that period of time, we'll go through in precise detail exactly how that hot market system and GoPro 30 process how they work to help a brand new person with no experience get into success very rapidly, returning their expense and moving into profit sometimes within the first week, sometimes the first few days. We'll show you why, because of that, so many people have success with Ecology. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back. Here's the 15-minute quick start, and here's how it works. When it's up, when they come back, what will happen? You'll have everybody come back. And I always start by saying, wow, it looks like everybody came back. Well, you're going to answer the two questions I wanted most. If I do this silly thing, how am I going to get my money back? And how is everybody here succeeding? That's what I want to know. You showed me a lot of big numbers. I will like them, but I just don't want to feel silly. And so you say, folks, here's how it works. We actually have a 3 simple step process, okay? And following these 3 simple steps, starting with either the professional or the business kit, we have a system that we use and that we teach and coach that gets people going and not only returns an expense, but can move you into a more profitable position, short-term and long-term. So we talked about our hot market system and our GoPro 30. Let me tell you where it starts. First 2 steps are what I want to focus on first. The hot market system and then moving your bottle so you can GoPro 30. A hot list, and this is where I start to describe it. By the way, we're actually going to do a recording of this early next week that will then be able to be used by everybody as a guideline that they can study and work with. But what I would do is, we know about the hot market. The hot market, you know, those people who would pick you up at 3 a.m. if the car broke down. They're your closest relationship hot market. We simply contact them using the scripts, either for phone or via text, depending upon where in the world you are or what you feel comfortable with. We have a way to now register them online, because the purpose of hot market is to give people, even if they start with a smaller package, if they do the action with the upgrade packs, they can be at a professional kit level in that first 30 days. Anybody who then either purchases and starts there or through the upgrades gets there in 30 days, they are a pro status. So if somebody starts with a smaller pack, I just want them to do the action. If they do the action, everybody can get there. And so that's what I show. We want to help you go pro. Go pro means that you have purchased and moved a professional kit using the kits. It can't just be random individual. The only way to get the GoPro status, it's actually coded into the professional kits, or any upgrade package or upgrade kit that takes you to pro status. It's the kits themselves that are programmed for the GoPro 30 reward. So you start with either professional business kit, which used to be called premium. We're just calling it professional. Our mantra is that we're pros, we're professionals, we enroll and go pro. You either start with a pro pack or you get one of the smaller kits and you do the upgrade. That triggers the GoPro. So here's how the hot list works. Boom. And I go through and I share with them, okay? The other reason to follow up, as you follow up, you can convert or maintain people on an auto order. The magic of that is the 3 and free that we mentioned just briefly before. This can help you have your order be free every month because you have long-term customers. Even your customers could get their order for free if they refer more customers. So both they and you have an incentive to share our products. They can get free product as your customer. You get paid the money. So all of the income, even if your customers refer them, that goes to you. And so it's a great thing to touch on. But let's talk about step 3. Using a very simple system, we've had people in an hour or 2, sometimes in just a day or 2, move their entire professional kit of product. The most important thing is just sharing with others the story of what you've been able to do. That is the foundation. Sharing stories with others that helps us try and move you into a fast start qualification, where you've started a business that you've gotten your return and it has a long-term success future. Finding others who would like the opportunity to do the same thing. Work with a team that'll work with them, help them like we help you so they can have the same success you do. If you can find 3 people who want to do the same thing you did as they move through the hot market as well, you can fast start qualify. And what I would let people know is, here's what this is. A coaching commission, there are 5 of the 10 commissions that if you help someone else, including the most powerful ones, the team commission, what we call our mentor bonuses, the leadership bonuses, there are 5 commissions. If you help someone else succeed, You automatically, by being a part of a college, you get a coaching commission that's 5% of the income you help them earn. If you Fast Start qualify for life, that doubles. Where that's important is if you enroll someone who over time becomes even better than you, much better than you, a lot better than you, and they earn a significantly larger income, your coaching commission on the income that they earned can make a dramatic impact in your life, and they're a lot better than you. You simply introduced them, and we appreciate you for that. That's why when you Fast Start qualify, you do become a team leader, and that's why we want to help you get started so quickly. By simply go Pro 30 and Fast Start qualifying as a team leader, all you do is help other people. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, wrong one. Before I go into the help other people, you will be a team leader. Here's the Go Pro 30. That's why I mentioned that you can go Pro 30. If they get to Pro, here's the Go Pro 30 reward. The team commission, which is the largest wealth building commission, but when you're first getting started, as you're just introducing new people, if you do Go Pro 30 and move that professional kit of product, we will triple it to 15% on the people you're personally enrolling. And the reason we do this, the behavior is, as you have had success, when you enroll someone, help us help them. Don't just throw somebody in and forget them. When you enroll somebody, help them get started quickly. The mindset is help everyone moves quickly and helps people move quickly because the first steps are simple. If that happens, we have an entire culture in our company-wide. It's not complicated, so do the simple things, but do them quickly. And the reward here for the first 3 months, by the way, this is actually 3+, just for you guys to know. The way it works is you could enroll on the 17th of the month. You have 30 days to hit the Pro status. If you hit the Pro status on the 16th day of the following month, what it is you get paid this for the balance of the month in which you achieve the Pro status. So if you enroll on the 16th or 17th with a Pro kit, you get paid this for the balance of all the activity of your team as you bring people on during that and 3 full months. If you enrolled and went Pro on the 1st, you've got that month plus 3 more. So it's the balance of the month in which you, and if you start with a smaller pack and on the 29th day, which is the 16th of the following month, that month plus the 3 next months, that's where you get that Pro. We always want to give people an excess. We're never trying to cheat them, we're trying to expand it. So it's a full 3+ months. Which then comes back to, again, just to recap, 3 simple steps. Make out a list, move your bottles, tell your story, and when you do step 3, as others join you, you become a Fast Start qualified team leader. You help other people do just exactly what you did, and we'll see you at the top. The entire Quick Start is designed to just go bink, bink, bink. Simply, thank you so much. Just simply turn to the person who invited you here, decide how you'd like to get started, or if you have questions, we're more than happy to take them. Does that make sense? That's the flow. And having a 2-part flow, here's the last thing I want to mention about this flow for those of you who will do the meeting. The first part of the meeting is a presentation. Presentations are not connecting. That's why it has so many stories. Stories are connecting. When you come back for the Quick Start, people have taken a break, everybody's a little loosened up, they come back and sit down, you get started. When you do the Quick Start, the reason you want whoever is just the best available to do the comp plan and the Quick Start, the first 3, the host, speaker 1, speaker 2, those are learning positions. That's how we grow leaders. You want the best available, the most comfortable in speaker 3, because when people come back from the Quick Start, don't present to them, have a conversation with them. Literally, you can do that whole Quick Start in a tone like this. Oh wow, everybody came back. You know, I was presenting earlier, here's the business, and here's the industry, and here's the company, and here's the comp plan. When you come back for the Quick Start, relax, chill out, kick back, and have a conversation with your buddies, your friends, your guy and gal pals. That's what everybody is. Just be relaxed and have some fun. Say, hey, listen, thanks for coming back. I'm surprised everybody stayed. Let's just go through this real quick and respect your time. Here's our systems. We have 3 simple steps. First 2, you want to reach out to people who love you and you love them. They help you. You do this. Here you go. Take a look at this, and here's that, and then here's how this works, and it all makes sense, doesn't it? Well, great. Decide how you'd like to get started, and welcome to the family. That's how the Quick Start should be. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right, then here's what I want to do. That's the information we wanted to get to all of you through these advanced leader discussions. What is the mindset of a leader? Know human behavior. And when you understand why, you'll automatically do in the way that is the best for them. We get people started in a way that doesn't require... Sorry, guys. There we go. We want to get people started in a way, that for killer speakers, that doesn't require your heavy-duty coaching help. We want them to be able to take a simple recipe card and do something that's very easy, it's very safe, it's fun, it's not intimidating, and let them get started. And the reason we want to do that is then we can see those who choose and those who don't, and we can help them and accelerate them. If you've got someone who's trying and it's not working, then we step in with them. But we want them to get started. In other words, if they didn't need your help, don't enable weakness, enable strength. And if they are a weak swimmer, then we'll help them. But let's at least let them play in the shallow end for a minute. When we do that as a group and as a company, we become a company that is known and respected for the way it knows and respects others. If you maintain that as a culture here, you will not only grow at such a dramatic rate. Here's what happens. Success loves speed. Leaders move at speed. And the reason we do is because if we keep it so simple at first, people can get into simple success. Simple success breeds fast success. And when that happens, everybody starts to pay attention. They go, what is going on with that ecology thing? Everybody's talking about ecology. It's simple. We kept it simple. We let it move quickly. Because here's what I'll let you know. Done properly, there is not a more magical place than network marketing as a place to give people who didn't know they had a choice, a place that if they choose, to make a dramatic change in their direction for a very long time. There is no other fair way. You know, it was funny, when Eric went through the example for those who were there, people talk about pyramids. He said, what's a company look like? Looks like, what's a church look like? Looks like that. What's a service organization? Looks like that. Everything looks like this. The difference is those structures are fixed. There's only one spot at the top and nobody else gets in. There's only 2 next spots or 3 and nobody else gets in. In network marketing, we all create our own. We can all go. The true power of network marketing when structured properly, people who come into ecology 5 years from now can have a much greater, they have the chance to grow bigger, farther, faster than you ever did, and you were 5 years ahead. That's the way it's designed. That's when it's fair. You get exactly out what you put in. You do a little, you get a little. You do a lot, you get a lot. You do a lot more, you get a lot more. That's what we want to be able to create, and that's where we are. So there are some fine-tuning. And so I'll check with IT tomorrow and make sure that since Ideal is the primary payment mechanism, I'll make sure that that hot SKU is in the customer order area. So if you aren't going to get their Ideal card and their PIN, obviously, probably, what's going to happen is you can get them to go into a simple area. They could do it themselves. You will know if they did it because the minute it's done, the next business day, they get an email and you do too. If the email never shows up, you know they didn't do it. You can contact them back and say, hey, listen, I shipped you the bottle. Don't forget, hello. Does that make sense? We'll make it simple for you. We will make it simple for all markets. So that's what I wanted to go through. And I know that we went a little bit late, but I wanted you guys to hear that because right now, your team members just got a raise on the activity they did all the way back on August 1st and didn't realize it. So all of your existing customer purchases, the kits stayed the same because the kits were already balanced to maximum payout. We intended to do that. But this plan was designed to allow them to take the values of all those freestanding customer orders and raise them. So everybody who's got them just got a raise. So anyway, that's what we wanted to go through with you and get you to that point. Let's go ahead and take the break, and those who need to go, you can go. And for me, I'm here until anybody wants to stop asking questions and wants to stop learning more, and I'm good for you as long as you want. But I'll leave that to you. All right? There you go, guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so,